In this episode of the Cretaceous Campcast, I talk all about Mateo. Who is he and what's he up to? I don't know. Stick around till after the intro. Hello and welcome to the Cretaceous Campcast. I am Cretaceous Dave, and this is a podcast all about Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Before I get into this episode, I want to give huge props to DreamWorks. They have been doing an incredible job of continuing to promote Chaos Theory on social media. Even though the show's been out for a few weeks, even though they've hit over 5 million views on Netflix, DreamWorks keeps on posting on Instagram, Twitter, and probably everywhere else they have a social media presence. They're posting cool behind the scenes stuff with the cast. They have them building Lego sets. They're posting concept art. They're doing these questions and all this other cool stuff. It seems almost daily they're posting something new about Chaos Theory to continue promoting the show. And of course, just a couple weeks ago, they announced that officially season 2 is coming this fall. Fall in the Northern Hemisphere. I saw someone online point out that, hey, fall was a few months ago. Yes, I guess if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, fall was a few months ago, or maybe it's currently fall. I think it's currently fall for another week or two. Anyway, it's fall in the Northern Hemisphere. It'll be spring in the Southern Hemisphere for those that want to get technical about it for when Chaos Theory Season 2 comes out. There's a lot of guesses and predictions that this coming week we could be seeing the first teaser trailer for the season. Timing lines up from what we saw with Camp Cretaceous and with being Jurassic June. And what better time to do it? The only other thing they can really promote at this point is give us more information on the new Jurassic World 4, Jurassic Park 7, whatever you want to call the new film. They could give us a title, official cast, even though we pretty much know everybody that's cast, but Universal hasn't said anything about it. So they've got that sort of stuff that they can give us for Jurassic June, but what better to give us than the teaser trailer for Chaos Theory Season 2? So I'm really hoping that's coming real soon as this upcoming week. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyway, on to this episode. This is something I've been thinking a lot about the last few days, and I just want to talk about it, and then, you all comment or hit me up on social media and let me know what you think about it. I want to talk about Mateo. If you remember when I was breaking down the teaser trailer, I was saying, who's the mystery man? Well, we found out that original glasses guy, mystery man, was Bobby Nublar. He's a bit of a disappointment of a character. Overall, I think, just my opinion, but it was interesting that he's the one we got with that "we've got a problem" line using the cell phone. Like, who is he talking to? What does he think is a problem? Does he know who those kids were? That's kind of a loose thread. And now with them on the cargo ship, spoiler, I'm going to assume everyone has watched it that's listening to this podcast. If not, I'm sorry. Just stop listening, stop watching, go watch Chaos Theory, because I'm going to say things that are definitely a spoiler. Anyway, is that phone conversation going to go anywhere, or was it just kind of a throwaway thing? I don't know. But other questions I posed when I was, giving my thoughts on the trailer and the teaser, that was the guy with the glasses we saw with the campers later on in that trailer, was that the same mystery man? Turns out it wasn't. Turns out that original mystery man on the phone was Bobby Nublar, like I said. The other one happens to be Mateo. So who is Mateo? What we know about Mateo for sure from the show is he used to work for the DPW. He was there that night Brooklyn was killed. I'm using air quotes here on YouTube. If you're just listening to the audio podcast, apologies for that. And, he was a DPW employee transporting dinosaurs, and he took on a side gig where he would, off the books, do some illegal transfers for some presumably shady people. He was making some decent extra money, and then one night he had this one, and it happened to be the battle at Big Rock Allosaurus, and he took it somewhere, found out it was not tranked, so that was, fishy circumstance number one. And then the fancy lock that was on that truck that he said other ones didn't have, it unlocked itself and the Allosaurus got out. So obviously it was, planned for this event to happen, which we find more out about the scenario in episode 10, the season finale. But as he tells the story, this is him telling the story. Remember, it's his perspective. It's what he's telling Darius and Kenji. He was there. That happened. Then he credits Brooklyn for saving his life because the Allosaurus went after her. Now, from what we get from him, and then from what we hear in episode 10, some of it kind of doesn't line up. He took Brooklyn's phone. We saw that. He told us that. He gave Darius and Kenji Brooklyn's phone when he was in the car with them. Part that doesn't line up, which is going to kind of get into the different theories we could have about who Mateo is, from his perspective, we see that Brooklyn was attacked by the Allosaurus. He's there over the body, or at least over the pool of blood that he assumes was what's left of her, and takes her phone, and then that's it. But from what is said in episode 10, the Allosaurus was just there to scare her, and the Atrociraptors were sent to finish the job. Now, we don't get confirmation that actually happened. I'm just going to assume that is what happened. Other theories going around, she reached back or something. The Allosaurus grabbed her by the hand, just ripped off her hand. She was able to get away. So maybe that's what Mateo found. He found a pool of blood in her hand, and he thinks like the Allosaurus ate the whole thing. Maybe he was off to the side, and that is all he saw. He didn't see what actually happened. I don't know. That's, it's one theory. Another theory is he did see what happened, and then he's involved in one way or another. So let's break down two different things I've seen floated around online. First is, despite him helping the kids, he's not necessarily on the good side. Now, something we have to consider is he conveniently shows up whenever they need him. So we see him parked off the side of the road earlier in the season. We don't know it's him. We don't know anything. We just see that car, and then he goes and follows them. We find out later in it's episode 5, I believe, after Darius and Kenji are getting away from Kenji's dad's property, after the raptor kills Kenji's dad, rest in peace, Daniel Kahn. Never thought I'd be saying that. But Mateo just conveniently shows up to rescue them. And he said he was been following them. He said his daughter is the one that got him to track them down, to find out where they are, to keep them safe, sort of thing. But the mysterious part is, he said, after he dropped them off at Brooklyn's secret apartment, it's like, okay, peace out, guys. I'll see you later. I want nothing to do with this. Got to get back home to my daughter. And then in episode 10, he shows up and just out of nowhere drives a truck straight through that cargo facility, saving them once again. Like, how did he know that's where they were? Did he keep on following them? That seems really, really weird that he shows up just when they need him to. And he also, every time he's around, the Atrociraptors are around as well. So some people think, okay, he's working with the bad guys, but he's kind of making it seem like he's saving the day, but he's actually with them, and he's building up this trust and confidence, and then he's kind of going to lead them to, where they need to be to meet whoever the broker is or whoever's ultimately responsible for everything. I don't really buy into that one as much. Theory that I started liking recently and I'm buying more into, which means I'm probably totally wrong. This is probably not it. But he's working with Brooklyn in some capacity. Some are even thinking he doesn't even have a real daughter, or he does, but she's not the one that he's talking about. That Brooklyn is his daughter. Again, I'm using air quotes if you're only listening. That he's the person that is convincing him to keep track of them, to follow them, to keep them safe is actually Brooklyn. there's a reason why he kept Brooklyn's phone and kept it charged. It doesn't make sense that for months he's keeping this thing charged. Now, there's a possibility that, okay, I'm going to go find and save these two kids, her friends. So I'm going to plug the phone in and I'm going to have it charged so I could just hand it off to them when I catch up with them. But it seems more like he's kept it charged. And why would he do that? Why would her dads, keep the phone turned on? That's one thing that doesn't make any sense, but I guess it's just for plot reasons. But I'm thinking he does keep this phone charged the entire time. Now, that makes it trackable. That's once he gives it to them, that's how he's able to know where they are. That he's not tracking it, but Brooklyn is tracking her phone. That's how she knows what's going on. So, that's the thing with Brooklyn's kind of calling the shots. She's using him to keep track of her friends, to keep them safe, but also kind of guide them into the direction where they need to go. It's more of a, hey, look into this. The other theory floating around out there about Brooklyn is that Ben's girlfriend is actually Brooklyn. Brooklyn is going through Ben to kind of feed this information, to give him what he needs to, follow the path, to follow the leads. So I don't know. It's entirely possible that Brooklyn is Ben's girlfriend and is Mateo. Or not is Mateo, is Mateo's daughter or working with Mateo. Brooklyn isn't Mateo, obviously. I have no idea why I said that. That's quite possibly the dumbest thing I've said on this podcast. I apologize for that. But anyway, so who is this guy? Is he just some random dude that felt bad about what happened and is using the dark web to just keep tabs on them? And I was okay with that until he showed up in episode 10. Showing up in episode 10 makes no sense. He would have no way of knowing what was going on, where they were, unless he had access to the location of Brooklyn's phone. Either that or he never went home and was following them the whole time. But I'm not buying into that. He didn't really seem like that was his thing. That's where he was going. So, I stopped thinking he was just some former DPW worker who was in the wrong place at the wrong time and felt bad about what happened. All the way up until episode 10, I could have believed that. But come episode 10, no, I don't. And then, like I said, I've been flip-flopping about, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he working with the broker? Is he working with Brooklyn? I don't know. He could be working with both for all I know. But it's just interesting to think about. I know this isn't a very long, a very deep episode. I've just been thinking about who is Mateo recently, and I just wanted to kind of get my thoughts out there and wonder what you all think. On YouTube, definitely leave a comment. If you're only listening to the audio podcast, hit us up at JP_Campcast on Twitter and let us know what you think about Mateo. Who is he? What are his motives? What's he up to? Is he working for anyone or with anyone in particular? Is it Brooklyn? Is it the broker? Is it still DPW? Is he working with Ronnie? We know Ronnie is working with Brooklyn. Does Ronnie even know she's working with Brooklyn, or does she just think she's working with some mystery person? I don't know. We've got a lot of questions that hopefully get answered in season 2, and it's making the whole conspiracy thriller aspect of the show that Scott Kramer keeps calling it all the more interesting. It has me wanting season 2 right now. I already did. I loved season 1. Season 1 is fantastic. I think it's better than Camp Cretaceous season 3. I've already watched season 1 of Chaos Theory 4 times. Yep, that's right. 4 times I've seen it already. It's only been out a few weeks. I plan on rewatching it again really soon. I've got something really cool coming up for a future episode of the Campcast, and it would be in my best interest to watch at least a few different episodes of it, but probably the whole thing, just to kind of get a refresher on everything, as if it wasn't already fresh. But yeah, I just, I like the idea of Mateo working with Brooklyn. I'm not 100% convinced his daughter is Brooklyn. He's, just using the words daughter. I'm not saying Mateo is one of her dads. That would be a super interesting twist, by the way. I'm just saying he's using the phrase his daughter to hide the fact that Brooklyn is the one kind of calling the shots, leading him in the direction of where he needs to go, telling him, hey, catch up to these kids. They might be in trouble, because one of them was already attacked and, died, as far as everyone else in the world knows. But it's really interesting to think about, and I definitely want to know what you guys think. I'm buying into that he's working with and for Brooklyn, but I don't know. I could see it the other way as well. I still see reasons why he could be working with the broker. It's the conveniently showing up whenever the Raptors are there, not just knowing where they are. The whole, he's there the same time as the Raptors. So is he kind of coupled with the handler, Microbangs, if you want to call her Microbangs, creepy Raptor lady, as my son likes to call her. But let's use her official name, the handler. That's all she's known as for now, officially within the franchise. So he's kind of conveniently always around when she's around. So there's still possibility he's working with the bad guy team. And if you're in that camp, that you think he's not someone to be trusted, give me your thoughts on why you think that and what you think he's actually up to. Is he, there to kind of play interference and gain their trust and then hand deliver them to the broker? Or is there something else going on? Something weird that, none of us are really thinking about. Well, obviously you're thinking about if you're going to leave it as a comment. But I definitely want to know everybody's thoughts on this, on Mateo. He's, for just kind of being a side character that was just sort of there, I think he has a lot of mystery to him. And I think there's a lot more to this guy than you think on first watch. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe everyone thought there was something about him the first time watching through it. But the more I watch it, the more I'm intrigued by Mateo and just more confused as to who this guy is, what he's up to, what his motivations are, who he's working for, who he's working with. And I know this episode probably sounds like a broken record. I just keep repeating the same things over and over. It's just kind of, it's where my head is with Mateo. Like, who is this guy? I want to know more. And I do hope, he's covered more. It's going to be interesting to see how or if they do cover him more, other than if they do a flashback or a backstory telling us about Brooklyn in season 2, because the kids got in that ship. That ship is going out to sea. There's no reason for Mateo to be around unless he also got on that ship, which then that's going to lead to even more questions, So we may get some stuff back on shore on the mainland again in, like I said, flashbacks regarding Brooklyn, or maybe there are scenes between Ronnie and Brooklyn and maybe Mateo somehow factors into there. I don't know. I do hope we get to figure out more about him in season 2. I hope he doesn't end up being like an Eddie in Camp Cretaceous, where he seems like he could be kind of important for different reasons, and then he's just there and gone. Like, I know he got eaten, but then in season 3 we see him in Wu's videos that he was there with the Scorpius Rex. He mentioned about the the other guys, which we're assuming is Manticore, but he sounded like he had a lot more story to tell. There was a lot more to him as a character. We never got anything. So I'm hoping Mateo doesn't end up being that way. Anyway, that wraps up this episode. Like I said, I know it wasn't very long. I know it sounded kind of repetitive. I just want to get some quick thoughts out on where I think Mateo might be heading and, asking you guys who you think Mateo might be. On that note, I have a voicemail set up and I have a new email address for the podcast. And for a future episode, I want to get everyone's thoughts on season 1. Let me know what you thought about season 1. Do you have questions you want to talk about in an episode for season 1? If so, you can call and leave a voicemail. The voicemail number is 443-364-8334. That's a US phone number, so it's country code 1, then 443-364-8334. And the new email address is contact@cretaceouscampcast.com. So you can send in an email or you can leave a voicemail, and I will add them into the episode that I'm going to be working on, compiling everyone's thoughts, everyone's questions. And it's kind of an idea I'm borrowing from Brad from the Jurassic Park podcast. He had the Jurassic mailbag where he did something similar. And I thought it was a really great idea. And it's a great way to, get you all to interact with the podcast instead of just listening and watching. You can be part of it too. I'm working on questions for season 2. of the community Q&A. So I'm going to have a couple folks, ready to answer those questions pretty soon. And like I said, I've got something super awesome that I'm in the process of finalizing the schedule for. So I can't wait to share that with you all. Don't want to spoil anything, don't want to give any details, but it's going to be really cool. I think you're going to really like what it is, and it's going to be coming really soon, I think. So anyway, that's all I have to say for this episode. Follow us on social media at JP_Campcast on Twitter, at Cretaceous Campcast on Instagram and Threads. Also TikTok, but I haven't been using TikTok in like months. So you can follow there. You're probably not going to see anything. I don't know. Maybe it's just the old guy in me. I just can't get into TikTok. I don't know why. Anyway, like I said, that wraps things up. I hope to have another episode really, really soon to catch up on everything. Numerous people have reached out to me and said they still want a Chaos Theory Season 1 review from me. So I'm going to work on that. But until next time, everyone stay safe, stay Jurassic, and have yourselves a great one. So long.